True Grit, 1969, earned John Wayne an Oscar and redefined the Western genre. The film was full of laughter and resilience, but behind the spotlight was a silent tragedy. Most of the cast members passed away under heartbreaking circumstances, struggling with illness, addiction, and loneliness. Today we will explore the true stories, the secret battles of each True Grit star, honoring the legacy they left behind and looking directly at the tragedy beyond the screen. John Wayne as Rooster Cogburn, the enduring battle of the Duke. John Wayne, born Marion Mitchell Morrison on May 26, 1907 in Winterset, Iowa. When he took on his fateful role as Marshal Reuben Rooster Cogburn in True Grit in 1969, he was 62 years old. Cogburn was a one-eyed, cantankerous alcoholic U.S. Marshal who ultimately proved to possess extraordinary courage. This gruff yet warm-hearted character won over global audiences, earning Wayne the only Academy Award for Best Actor in a leading role of his illustrious career. It was the peak of his fame, but also a time when he was concealing a devastating personal battle. Despite being the embodiment of the indomitable American hero, John Wayne's life was a series of enduring struggles. His greatest tragedy began in 1964 when he was diagnosed with lung cancer. He kept the information private to protect his public image, only revealing it after successfully undergoing surgery to remove one lung and several ribs. The cause of the disease was believed to stem from his heavy smoking habit, up to 6 packs a day, which he maintained for decades, a part of the rugged cowboy persona he had built. But the battle did not stop there. By the early 1970s, he had to fight another form of cancer. A long-standing controversial theory suggests that his illness, as well as that of many colleagues, may have been linked to radiation exposure while filming The Conqueror 1956 in Utah, near a nuclear test site. Although he consistently maintained a powerful image, Wayne had to endure painful rounds of radiation and chemotherapy, severely impacting his health. Furthermore, Wayne's private life was fraught with difficulties, including 3 failed marriages and familial tensions, which led him in his later years to face loneliness and exhaustion due to illness. John Wayne passed away on June 11, 1979, at the age of 72 at the UCLA Medical Center in Los Angeles. The official cause was stomach cancer recurrent and metastasized lung cancer. He was laid to rest at Pacific View Memorial Park in Corona del Mar, California. His estimated net worth at the time of his death was about $7 million USD, equivalent to $30 million USD today. This figure, while impressive, remains modest compared to modern superstars, reflecting the massive medical expenses he incurred. The death of the Duke serves as a reminder that fame and fortune cannot buy health or victory in the battle against cancer. Glen Campbell as Boeuf, the final melody of memory. Unlike John Wayne, Glen Campbell, born April 22, 1936 in Billstown, Arkansas, was primarily a country music superstar when he joined True Grit at the age of 33. He played Boeuf, a self-important, gallant, but somewhat clumsy Texas Ranger officer. This was almost his sole major film role. Campbell's charm provided a perfect balance to Wayne's gruffness, making the character Boeuf beloved despite his initial arrogance. But behind that captivating smile was a protracted personal tragedy. Throughout the 70s and 80s, when his music career was at its peak, Campbell publicly struggled with alcohol and cocaine addiction. This habit not only destroyed his health, but also led to numerous scandals, arrests, and caused severe strain in his personal relationships, including several failed marriages. He faced public shame as these issues were constantly exploited by the press, overshadowing his natural musical talent. However, the greatest tragedy struck in 2011 when he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. This was a cruel reality for a musical genius whose memory was his entire career. Campbell fought the disease publicly, embarking on an emotional farewell tour, the Goodbye Tour, as an effort to hold on to his final moments of clarity. Documentaries recording his cognitive decline are a heartbreaking testament to the disease's devastating toll. Glen Campbell passed away on August 8, 2017 at the age of 81 at a care facility in Nashville, Tennessee, due to complications from Alzheimer's disease. He was buried privately at the Campbell Family Cemetery in Delight, Arkansas. His estimated net worth at the time of his death was about 50 million USD, reflecting his immense musical success. However, this figure is a painful contrast, a man who possessed great wealth but lost the most precious thing, his memory. This fortune later became the focus of complex legal disputes among his family members. Jeff Corey as Tom Chaney. The pain of honor and isolation. Jeff Corey, whose birth name was John G. Hyman, was born on August 10, 1914 in Brooklyn, New York. When he joined True Grit at the age of 55, he was already a veteran actor and a respected acting teacher. He played Tom Chaney, the killer of Mattie Ross's father, a brutal, despicable character and the main driving force behind the entire journey. Although he appeared only briefly, this early villainous role became one of Corey's most memorable. Jeff Corey's personal tragedy did not come from illness or addiction, but from the political persecution that robbed him of the most brilliant years of his career. In the 1950s, during the witch hunt era, McCarthyism in Hollywood, Corey was placed on the Hollywood blacklist for refusing to cooperate and testify before the House Un-American Activities Committee, HUAC, about his colleagues' political activities. As a member of the Communist Party in the 1930s, a time when many Americans joined, he was completely boycotted by the entertainment industry. Being blacklisted meant he was banned from acting in film and television for a decade from 1951 to 1961. This tragedy caused deep professional and financial isolation. To earn a living and support his family, Corey was forced to pivot to become a discreet acting teacher, holding classes in his private home. However, it was in this capacity that he left an immeasurable legacy, mentoring a generation of great actors such as Jack Nicholson, Jane Fonda, Dustin Hoffman, and James Dean. It was not until the late 1960s, when the political climate eased, that Jeff Corey began to return to the screen, and the role of Tom Chaney in True Grit was one of those first major opportunities. He had an admirable career recovery, but his film career could never fully compensate for the years unjustly taken from him. Jeff Corey passed away on August 16, 2002 at the age of 88 in Malibu, California, due to complications from a fall. His body was cremated, and his ashes were given to the family. Corey's estimated net worth at the time of his death was about 5 million USD. This figure symbolizes his late-stage recovery, but it is also a reminder of the terrible cost of defending one's honor and personal beliefs during a chaotic period. A career cut short and a net worth that was certainly much lower than the true potential of a talented actor. Dennis Hopper as Moon. The genius, tormented by chaos. Dennis Hopper was born on May 17, 1936 in Dodge City, Kansas. When he appeared in True Grit at the age of 33, he played Moon, a young and easily spooked member of Ned Pepper's gang. This role came right after he completed the groundbreaking film Easy Rider 1969, a work he directed, co-wrote, and starred in, bringing him global fame as a counterculture icon. However, Dennis Hopper's life was a chain of tragedies linked to addiction, mental illness, and chaotic behavior. His career suffered a severe slump after the success of Easy Rider due to his erratic demands and unstable behavior, particularly during the production of his next film, The Last Movie, 1971. He publicly struggled with alcohol and drug addiction for decades, including cocaine, amphetamines, and marijuana. This substance abuse frequently led to fierce arguments, violent behavior, culminating in an incident in 1983, when he was arrested and diagnosed with bipolar disorder. This dark period caused him to lose almost all his assets, lose contact with his family, and live as a vagrant. Hopper's career only truly revived in the mid-1980s after he overcame his addiction. Classic villainous roles in Blue Velvet 1986 and Speed 1994 proved his inherent talent. Although he achieved sobriety, the past turmoil left deep scars in his personal relationships, including 5 failed marriages, one of which, to Daria Halprin, lasted only 8 days. Dennis Hopper passed away on May 29, 2010, just a few days after his 74th birthday at his home in Venice, California. The cause of death was metastatic prostate cancer. He was buried at Oak Hill Cemetery in his hometown of Ranchos de Taos, New Mexico. His tragedy extended into his final months as he faced a stressful divorce case with his fifth wife, forcing him to fight both for his health and legally. Dennis Hopper's estimated net worth at the time of his death was about 40 million USD. This figure is a testament to his extraordinary recovery and late-stage success. However, without the years lost to addiction and mental illness, his assets and artistic legacy could have been much greater. His life is a reminder that creative genius often comes at the cost of personal torment and chaos. Strother Martin as Colonel Stonehill, the burden of the villainous legacy. Strother Martin, born on September 26, 1919 in Kokomo, Indiana, was a familiar face in Western films when he took on the role of Colonel G. Stonehill in True Grit at the age of 49. Stonehill was a greedy, arrogant horse trader whom Mattie Ross was determined to confront early in the film. Although the role was short but memorable, Martin perfectly portrayed the character's arrogance and dishonesty, solidifying his position as one of Hollywood's most distinct character actors, specializing in villainous and quirky roles. Strother Martin's tragedy lay not in public scandals, but in a silent struggle with heart disease and the relentless pressure of an actor constantly typecast in small, gruff roles. He spent most of his career taking supporting parts, especially in the works of director Sam Peckinpah, and the image of the small, scowling man was deeply ingrained in the audience's mind. His career, though successful, lacked deep personal recognition. The difficulty for a dedicated character actor is the constant battle to prove one's worth in an industry that celebrates leading stars. Health-wise, Martin battled serious cardiovascular issues in his later years. Unlike John Wayne, whose career peaked before illness struck, Martin had to continue working diligently amid health concerns. The burden of maintaining a high frequency of appearances to ensure financial stability, combined with the internal stresses of the acting profession, placed an invisible pressure on his already fragile heart. Strother Martin passed away suddenly on August 1, 1980, just weeks before his 61st birthday in Thousand Oaks, California. The cause of death was an acute heart attack. This unexpected death cut short his flourishing career. He was cremated and his ashes were scattered at Mount Whitney in California, a place he loved. Strother Martin's estimated net worth at the time of his death was about 1 million USD. This figure accurately reflects the reality of a hard-working character actor for decades, rarely receiving the salary of a lead star. His untimely death due to heart disease is a stark reminder that even those who appear with a cantankerous exterior and intense energy on screen also suffer from silent and vulnerable health issues, just like everyone else. His legacy is a testament to the indispensable value of talented supporting actors to cinema. Jeremy Slate as Emmett Quincy, the enduring battle for justice. Jeremy Slate, whose birth name was Robert Perham, was born on February 17, 1926, in Atlantic City, New Jersey. He was a Navy veteran and a college graduate before pursuing acting. At the age of 43, he played Emmett Quincy in True Grit, a dangerous knife-wielding criminal and a member of Ned Pepper's gang. Quincy's tense standoff with Moon, and subsequently with Rooster Cogburn himself, is one of the gritty, memorable moments of the film, establishing a palpable threat. However, Jeremy Slate's tragedy was not a single one, but two parallel and exhausting battles. A legal fight to reclaim his creative legacy and a physical fight against a ruthless cancer. For decades, Slate adamantly claimed that he was the uncredited co-writer of the iconic counterculture film Easy Rider 1969, alongside Dennis Hopper and Peter Fonda. He maintained that the initial idea was his and that he had been cheated out of credit and any payment for the film's immense success. This tragedy haunted him for life. He pursued numerous lawsuits, consuming time, money, and mental energy, but never received the official recognition he believed he deserved. This financial bitterness and professional betrayal were a heavy psychological burden. His second battle was even more devastating. Late in life, Slate was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, a painful and debilitating illness. The contrast was tragically ironic. A man who often played tough guys, soldiers, and cowboys on screen was now struggling with a disease that attacked his very ability to swallow and speak the fundamental tools of an actor. He bravely underwent surgery and treatment, But this fight severely eroded his health. Additionally, his personal life was turbulent with multiple marriages, at least 4 that came and went, suggesting the instability behind his public persona. Jeremy Slate passed away on November 19, 2006, at the age of 80 in Los Angeles, California. The cause of death was complications following surgery for esophageal cancer. His body was cremated, and his ashes were scattered in the Pacific Ocean. Jeremy Slate's estimated net worth at the time of his death was only around $1 million to $1.5 million USD. This figure, while not insignificant, is extremely modest for a career spanning 50 years with hundreds of television and film roles. It reflects the life of a hard-working character actor who never reached superstar status. More tragically, it is evidence of his unsuccessful legal battle over Easy Rider, a film that could have completely altered his financial trajectory. Ron Soble as Captain Boots. Finch. A fleeting glimmer of fame and a premature death. Ron Soble, born on March 28, 1930 in New York, was a familiar face on 1960s television. When he joined True Grit at the age of 39, he played Captain Boots Finch, a member of Ned Pepper's gang. Although a relatively small role, Boots Finch was a noticeable character with a menacing appearance and a strong presence in the film's crucial action scenes. This role was one of the highlights of Soble's brief film career. Ron Soble's tragedy was a sudden career interruption and a premature death, a heartbreaking end for a developing actor. Unlike many of his colleagues who struggled with addiction or public scandals, Soble's personal life was relatively private and calm. However, he battled a terminal illness in his later years, a silent and fierce fight. His career, which had been steady with numerous guest roles on popular television shows, was forced to slow down significantly as his health declined. The period after True Grit should have been a stepping stone to bigger roles on the silver screen, but instead, he had to spend time fighting his illness. Soble's greatest difficulty was having to accept a career unjustly curtailed by health issues. His talent and potential were extinguished before they could fully bloom. He was one of those actors who had to confront the fear of his own finiteness, even while trying to maintain a highly competitive career in Hollywood. Ron Soble passed away on May 1, 2002, at the age of 72 in Los Angeles, California. The cause of death was recorded as heart failure. He was cremated and his ashes were scattered at Westwood Village Memorial Park, Los Angeles. Ron Soble's estimated net worth at the time of his death was about $600,000 USD. This figure reflects a career primarily as a television guest star and film supporting actor. Despite working hard for decades, he never achieved the salary level of a major star, and the years battling illness undoubtedly severely impacted his final earning capacity. His death is a sad story of unfulfilled potential and the heavy toll exacted by the harshness of time. John Fiedler, as lawyer. Daggett. The sorrow behind the gentle voice. John Fiedler, born on February 3, 1925, in Platteville, Wisconsin, was a talented actor known for his distinctive high-pitched voice, often cast as shy, timid, or vulnerable characters. When he joined True Grit at the age of 44, he played lawyer Daggett, a small, stern attorney representing Mattie Ross in her quest to reclaim her father's body. Despite his brief appearance, Fiedler created a memorable character with a reserved demeanor standing in stark contrast to the ruggedness of the Western world. John Fiedler's personal tragedy was a long, silent struggle with cancer and the professional limitations imposed by his unique voice. Throughout his career, Fiedler battled the stereotype that he could only play weak or slightly foolish men, even though he was capable of portraying complex emotional nuances. This limitation sometimes caused him frustration over his untapped potential on screen. However, that very voice brought him a second highly successful career in voice acting, most notably as Piglet in Disney's Winnie the Pooh cartoon series. Health-wise, Fiedler privately fought cancer in his later years. He was known for being intensely private and rarely sharing details about his personal life, including his health struggles. He never married, and his personal life, though calm and devoted to his art, had a certain lonely aspect hinted at by his reserved personality. The silent battle with the disease while maintaining a voice-acting career demanding high precision placed a significant burden on him. John Fiedler passed away on June 25, 2005 at the age of 80 at St. Vincent's Hospital in New York, New York. The cause of death was cancer. Sadly, he died just one day after his Winnie the Pooh voice-acting colleague Paul Winchell, the voice of Tigger, also passed away. Fiedler was cremated and his ashes were given to the family. John Fiedler's estimated net worth at the time of his death was about $2 million USD. This figure is a testament to his steady and stable success in film, television, and particularly voice acting over many decades. However, it also reflects the reality that supporting roles and voice work, though consistent, rarely bring in the massive fortunes of leading stars. His death was a quiet farewell to a voice that brought joy to millions, but had to face the silent agony of cancer. James Westerfield as Judge Parker, The Weight of Authority and the Sudden Departure. James Westerfield, born on March 22, 1913 in Nashville, Tennessee, was a character actor with a distinctive physique and an illustrious career. With his imposing stature and booming voice, he was often cast in roles of authority or symbolic figures. When he joined True Grit at the age of 56, he took on the role of Judge Isaac C. Parker, also known as the Hanging Judge. Although he appeared in only one scene, the courtroom scene at the beginning of the film Westerfield left a profound impression of a stern man representing the harsh justice of the frontier. James Westerfield's personal tragedy was not public scandal or addiction, but a silent and sudden battle with cardiovascular health. Throughout a career spanning decades, Westerfield was a tireless working actor, appearing in hundreds of television shows and films, from On the Waterfront to The Shaggy Dog. However, his heavy build, which was an asset for his roles, was a major risk factor for his health. The pressure of a heavy work schedule coupled with health concerns he may have overlooked silently accumulated. His career was in a stable and prolific phase when True Grit was released. The film's success should have opened up more opportunities for him. However, tragedy struck too quickly. Westerfield did not have much time to enjoy the fruits of one of the most famous films he participated in. James Westerfield passed away suddenly on September 20, 1971, just 2 years after True Grit's release at the age of 58. He died in Encino, California. The cause of death was an acute heart attack. His untimely and sudden death shocked the Hollywood community. He was interred at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California. James Westerfield's estimated net worth at the time of his death was about $1 million USD. This figure reflects the solid career of a dependable character actor who was always employed but rarely received the salary of an A-list star. His sudden death at 58 is a poignant tragedy, a reminder that even the men who look the strongest and most authoritative on screen can be felled by silent health issues. He passed away with many roles still unplayed. John Doucette as the Sheriff. The weariness of the hard worker. John Doucette, born on January 21, 1921 in Brockton, Massachusetts, was an extremely prolific character actor known for his ability to play both sheriffs, military officers, and rugged villains. With his angular face and commanding deep voice, he appeared in over 250 films and television shows throughout a 4-decade career. When he joined True Grit at the age of 48, he played the sheriff, a brief but important character in establishing the legal chaos of Fort Smith. John Doucette's tragedy did not come from a shocking event, but from the cost of relentless diligence and a career overshadowed by others. He was a journeyman of Hollywood, always working, but rarely remembered by name by the public. His life is a testament to the attrition of a hard-working actor who had to constantly move and accept small roles to support his family. He had 7 children. Despite being very successful at maintaining steady employment, Doucette faced the reality that fame and recognition are often reserved for the leading stars, while he was an essential but easily forgotten piece of the cinematic tapestry. His perseverance in a highly competitive industry, coupled with years of service in the U.S. Army during World War II, left deep physical and mental marks. Although he rarely spoke about his private life, maintaining a large family life while constantly working under the pressure of the entertainment industry was certainly a great challenge, a burden that many character actors bear. John Doucette passed away on August 16, 1994, at the age of 73 in Tuolumne County, California. The cause of death was cancer. His death was the end of a long and stable career. He was interred at Tuolumne Cemetery in California. John Doucette's estimated net worth at the time of his death was about $1 million USD. This figure symbolizes the financial stability he built through tireless work. But it also reflects the reality of a veteran character actor's salary, enough to live on, but not wealthy. Doucette was one of Hollywood's silent heroes who sacrificed fame for a sustainable career and ultimately suffered from a cruel disease after years of hard labor. Alfred Ryder as Goudy, the silent turmoil of the artist. Alfred Ryder, whose birth name was Alfred Korn, was born on January 5, 1916 in New York. He was an experienced theater actor on the Broadway stage before transitioning to film and television. When he joined True Grit at the age of 53, he played Lawyer Goudy, the legal adversary of Lawyer Daggett, a small but professional and sharp character representing the legal system of the time. Alfred Ryder's personal tragedy was the tension between the serious world of the theater and the financial needs of Hollywood, along with health challenges and a tumultuous married life. He was a method acting practitioner and was married to the famous actress Kim Stanley, another major method acting star. Their marriage, which lasted nearly 2 decades, was known to be highly chaotic and strained, filled with professional rivalry and personal struggles. His career was overshadowed by his wife's dazzling fame and psychological issues, causing him to live in someone else's shadow for a long time. Late in life, Ryder battled protracted lung cancer. Although he consistently tried to maintain a steady acting career on television, the burden of illness and years of psychological tension eroded his health. Alfred Ryder passed away on October 16, 1995, at the age of 79 in Englewood, New Jersey. The official cause of death was lung cancer. He was interred at Kensico Cemetery in Valhalla, New York. His estimated net worth at the time of his death was about $500,000 USD. This modest figure reflects a dedicated career that never reached superstar status and the financial difficulties that may have occurred during the years spent battling illness, emphasizing the contrast between fleeting fame and harsh reality. John Pickard as Frank Ross Mattie's father. The real-life death of a victim. John Pickard, born on June 25, 1913 in Las Casas, Tennessee, was another veteran character actor specializing in Western and law enforcement roles. In True Grit, he played Frank Ross, the father of the protagonist Mattie Ross. Although he appears only briefly in flashbacks and is primarily the dead man killed by Tom Chaney, his character is the catalyst for the entire plot. His death initiates Mattie's journey of revenge. John Pickard's tragedy was a career overshadowed and a real-life death tragically linked to the very things he often portrayed on screen. Despite working tirelessly for decades, Pickard, like many colleagues, never escaped the shadow of small supporting roles. He was always the soldier, the police officer, or the victim, but rarely the central figure. His career reflects the harshness of being typecast in a specific role. The great irony, however, was his biggest tragedy occurred off-set. In his later years, Pickard struggled with health issues that were not widely disclosed. Nevertheless, his passing was the most shocking detail. John Pickard passed away on August 4, 1993, at the age of 80. His death was not due to old age or illness, but was the result of a tragic accident. He was fatally gored by a bull on his farm in Rutherford County, Tennessee. This sudden and violent death was a cruel, ironic ending for a man who had spent his life acting out action scenes and dying on the Western screen. He was interred at Evergreen Cemetery in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. His estimated net worth at the time of his death was negligible, reflecting a career of hard work that did not accumulate great wealth. The stories we have just explored paint a truthful and poignant picture of the heroes and villains of True Grit. Although they demonstrated resilience on screen in real life, they were all people who had to fight invisible and brutal foes. The stars of True Grit left behind indelible artistic legacies, but their real-life stories are a profound and necessary reminder. They show us that Hollywood glamour is fleeting, Fame and fortune are not shields protecting them from the deepest human suffering. They endured personal tragedies that the public barely knew about, and their deaths, whether due to old age or illness, carry the weight of years of silent struggle. Now, having lifted the veil of secrecy behind their smiles, we invite you to look back at the film True Grit with different eyes. Eyes that appreciate their on-screen bravery and their real-life resilience. Which character do you remember the most? Which actor's real-life story moved you the most? Leave a comment and share your thoughts on these tragedies beyond the limelight. Don't forget to like this video, article, and subscribe to the channel to discover more touching backstage stories and little-known truths about the legends who made cinematic history.